system. Okay. You have your own system. Okay. You have your own laptop or a desktop, right? The by default, what you can able to do with your system, yeah, you can able to play games, you can browse internet, okay, you can mm, do programming in your system, right? This is your individual system. You are the controller, you are the administrator of this PC. You have an account in your PC, so he is the administrator of this PC. Just an example, this is one of my virtual machine I'm going to open. Okay, so there I will try to show this is individual PC. Okay, so by default your PC is in the work group, and you don't require to, you are not sharing any information to anything. Just you are accessing the things, like you are utilizing your system and you are the administrator. It means your username and the password stores in this PC only. So when you log into your PC, you just open the PC. Okay, just you power on your PC and then wait. So then you will get login screen like this. See, there is a user called a student dev. He is by default the first user. So then by default, he is the administrator of this PC. So this user can able to do anything in this PC. So this user can able to install an application, can modify the settings, can able to delete certain files, or maybe uninstall the applications. He can create some policies, settings. We can able to do disk management. All these things he can able to manage by this user. Okay, this generally, that is an individual PC. That's taking time to log in. Okay, so this is our PC individually. But in case if you are in the organization, maybe it is a college or maybe it is a office, okay, or it is a organization company like that. So there we have a multiple computers like this, right? Multiple computers. And every computer is an individual computer, just like how your laptop is individual laptop. The same way, all these computers are individual computers. And these computers are connected in the network. Of course, this is symbolic representation of devices connected in the network. Yeah, you can take a switch symbol and you can able to connect like this, but this is a symbolic representation of connecting the devices. New Germany, something it is showing, remind me later. Okay, so this is my system which contains, see, all applications are there. So which application I want it, I open, I can do some Java related kind of stuff, I work it, I close it. Okay, and I can do whatever the settings I want to do it in this PC. So that's it is a individual PC it is. Just go to about your PC. Okay, you can find your system information about your PC. So it is your processor, your architecture type, and your operating system. Mine is Windows 10 Pro. Okay, and here it is. And I go to this rename this PC advanced. You can see here it is my PC name, and it is in the work group called a work group name. Okay, you can see here it is the computer name, member of a domain or member of work group. I am in the work group because this PC is an individual PC it is. And one more I want to show it is by about my account. So this is my account information, my username. It is a local account and is a administrator. I have two users. So this is the first user and he is a by default administrator. In this PC, I created one more account. If in case if someone in my family members want to use it, so I can use secondary account. So this is a second account. It is a local account and is a standard user. Is a standard user. So standard user account cannot install or uninstall the application. They cannot change the settings. Okay. So they do not have all privileges. They have very limited privileges. So they can create a document, they can delete the document. Okay. They can do the web browsing. They can do all the things as a regular user, but only thing is they cannot do any administrative task. The standard accounts or standard user accounts cannot able to do all the as administrator they can't do it. So I have an administrator account and you have a standard account also. But if you observe, it is a local account. What is meant by local account? The username and password stored in this laptop, in this system only. So this username and its password stored in this PC only. When I log in, this system is authenticate this user. Okay, this system only authenticate this user. So that is what it is happened with the individual systems. So this PC stores this username and password because it is a local account. Okay. And authenticate users. Okay. It means authenticate by user means when user is login, this PC is authenticate this username and password. Now, if you are in the organization, so you have multiple computers are connected in the network, but every system has their own account inside, right? For example, I'll take one account from your names. Okay, so there is a Bhavani account is there. So here is a Bhavani is a user in this PC. I created Bhavani account in this system. Okay, Rakesh. So in this PC, I created a Rakesh account. Okay, so in this PC, I created a Swati account. In this PC, I created a Jahnavi account. Okay. So like that, I created accounts. So in my organization systems, there are all individual systems on. So they do not have any centralized controllers. All are individuals. Every system has an account. These users can able to log into their PCs. For example, so here it is, Rakesh is login to PCB. So PCB authenticate Rakesh user account. Why? Because he's a local account in the PCB. Same as go for a Swati. Swati can able to log into the PCC. Why? Because of Swati is a local account. Swati's username and password is available in this PC only. So Swati can able to log into PCC authenticated by PCC only. Jahnavi is same. So Jahnavi can able to log into PCT because the account is inside it is PC only. Okay. So she can be authenticated by PCT only. But Bhavani cannot log into PCB. She cannot log in. Why? Because of where is Bhavani account here? Not there. So you cannot log in. If your account is not there in the system, you cannot log in. So that is a rule, right? So your system, you want to log into a system and it should require your account and it required a password. And if your account is there, so then you can able to log in as the name. Okay. If I steal others password, so I can log in. That is different. I know the Swati password, I can log into PCC. That is not what I'm trying to say. Thing is, if your account is there, so then you can able to log in. Okay. So there is no centralized control. It is every system has their own system account and the account information stored in their PCs. If the account is admin account, if you have a admin account in the PC, the admin account able to administrator account can able to change the settings, installing application, uninstalling applications, okay, changing some firewall rules or maybe some group policy internally, they can able to do it. Okay. If you are a standard account user in the system, so you do not able to change the settings or installation or uninstallation of applications, but you can use it. The point is here in a this model, every system is individual system. Every system has their own admin account inside. And if your account is there in the system, so you can able to log into that system. So this model, we call it as a work group model. This model, we call it as a work group model. Okay. This model, we call it as a work group model. It's a decentralized administration. Means every system has to be managed individually. You can go to each and every PC, manage individually. So I have an office, I have 100 employees are there, 100 computers are there. So I am a desktop support engineer or a system engineer. So I have to create, I have to go to each and every system, I have to create some admin account and some user accounts inside. Users comes, log in, and they will work. Okay. So they do work. Now, I have to do some settings on the system. For example, I have to do a firewall setting in the all 100 computers. So I have to go to each and every computer and do the firewall setting. Understand, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I have to do for 100 computers. It is take long time, right? So how much burden on me? Again, I have to hire 2, 3 members to do it otherwise. Okay. So that is more burden on organization. There is no centralized control, but no number of devices. It is one of the issues. We can control individually, but not centrally. Okay. It's not only about a user accounts. Also, it is administrating each individual PCs. You have to go to each and every PC, log in with their local account, user account, and you have to manage it. Okay. This is point. Another point it is in case, for example, you have more members. For example, you have 100 computers and 300 employees are there. 300 employees, 100 computers. Okay. So each computer required at least 3 accounts you have to put it. So like a duty wise, morning duty, afternoon duty, night duty. 3 shifts people are working. So minimum 3 accounts you have to put it in one system. Okay. 3 accounts you have to put it in one system. In case if this system is down, the user cannot log in, right? So your account is in the system only. So you cannot able to log in. Cannot able to log in. So what you have to do? Again, you have to create that accounts in another system. Which system is available? You have to create that account. So let the people to log it here. Okay. So you cannot log in here. Why? Because of it is already down. Or you have to give holiday for that day. So that is what happened. So you have to create all the accounts in other system. For example, Swati is not willing to sit in this place. She want to log in here. So again, I have to create Swati account here. Even there is a system is available. So I have to create the account in this. Okay. Even there is a system is available. So then I have to create account here and then people can able to log in here. So it is not centralized user because user accounts are in local and this user authenticated here only. It cannot be authenticated in other system until unless you create another account in the system with the same name. Names are same, but it is not both are not same accounts anyway. Okay. Both profiles are different. Both settings are what are the settings? Swati settings cannot be come to this PC because it's another system, same name account. That's it. It's not same account. It is same name account. Name is same, but different accounts it is. Okay. So this is what work group. So in case of more number of users, and the users, all users accounts has to be created. At least some more a number of users accounts should be created in individual PCs. In case of people are changing their seating, or maybe system is down, they have to work in another system, they need an account in it. Again, you have to create another account for them. Okay. So this is one more point in the work group model. If it is a smaller organization, 10 members only working, you can go with the work group model. It's a bigger organization. Multi-level organization means organizations can be in one place, one physical location, or multiple physical locations also there. Okay. So bigger organizations. So then what happened? More number of users, more systems. It's very difficult to manage individually, and you do not have any central authentication here. Okay. More number of devices or increases, it's difficult to manage. So this is about a work group model. Yeah, I have written about a individual or work group model. Okay. So what I explain it is user accounts or administrator account or standard user accounts are there. Okay. The admin account can able to install application, can change settings in your computer. Standard user accounts. Standard user account. Users cannot install applications settings. They are having a limited access. Again, user accounts are local accounts. Local account, the user information means username, password stored in their local computer only. The user is authenticated and authorized by local computer only. When you log into this PC, who is going to be authenticate this user? This PC only authenticating. What is meant by authentication? Verification of credentials. Verification of credentials like a username password is correct. So he's got authenticated. You given username and password correct. So it is you got authenticated. What is authorization? Allow user to access. Either allow or deny user to access. Means I want to access the printer. So if in a print server I have a access permission, I can get it. I'm a authorized. A server will authorize me to access it. I want to access some file in my PC. If I'm authorized my PC to access it, so then I can able to access. Okay. Authorization means allow or deny of accessing resources or anything, services, you can say data. Allow user to give access. Give access to the user or not to the service, data or resources. Authentication means verification of identity or credentials, like verifying username and password. Authorization allow user to access, give access to, like if you have access permission, like if you are accessing to this system, so you can able to access it. Like, okay. Next, what is this domain? What is the domain environment? Guys, we face an issues in the work group. So guys, understand work group. What are the challenges we face in the work group model, in the decentralization model? Mainly these two things. Understand work group model. Okay. Is it muted or not? Normal. Okay, guys, this is a domain type of model. It is. So there is a domain controller, which is a or centralized server. This is called a domain controller. What is a domain controller? Is nothing but a centralized server. Yeah, it's a server. Of course, it is centralized. Okay. What is a domain controller? Domain controller is nothing but a server. This domain controller contains a database. Domain controller contains a database about your domain users, about your domain users, computers, groups, resources. Okay. So your computer, your server having a information. Means in the database it contains information or information about your domain users. For example, username is user 1, user 2, user 3, user 4, user 5, user 6, okay, or user 7, user 8, user 9, user 10. Yeah, it is better to type here user 7 onwards, user 8, user 9, user 10. Okay. So we'll remove all these things. Okay. So these users are called domain users. These users in the domain controller are called domain users. Okay. And these are the systems like a C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, C6. Okay. These are all initially a workgroup PCs. But once you are joined into the domain, okay, once you join into the domain, so I will show that one. Where is the domain joining? So here it is. This PC is already in workgroup, but you can see there is a thing like a see rename this PC. I'm in a workgroup. So every domain has a domain name. So when I click on change, I said member of domain. I type my domain name. My domain name is contesto.com, for example. My domain name is example contesto.com. When I click OK, the request go to the domain controller and for authentication. Once you give an authentication from here, so this system will going to join the domain controller. Okay, I'm not joining anything because currently no domain controller is fine. You know, my system, my system is already in domain controller. So I will show you this. Go to the system settings, go to the system, or you can type directly about your PC. Okay, about. So I'm in already in the domain. See, I'm going to rename this PC. See, it is showing domain because I'm already in the domain. This is my company laptop, not my own personal laptop. It is my company laptop. So I am in my company domain. This computer is a member of my domain. This computer is a member of domain. Domain name is 70s here. Okay. So see that difference is your computer, those who join into the domain, there are domain computers. The computers, those join into the domain called a domain computer. Okay. So C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, all these five systems are joined into the domain. Okay, join into the domain. So thing is, domain users can log into any of the domain computer. Domain users can log into any of the domain computer. Okay, user one. So can log into C1. But actually in the C1, I didn't create any user account. So 1 second, guys, I'm going to power off this PC. Okay, I didn't create a user one in the C1. In the C1, I didn't create user one. User one is not a local account to the C1. User one is a domain account. User one is a domain account. Okay, so if user is a local account, who is going to authenticate? The local system. User is not a local account, he is a domain account. The user information stores in this database. Okay. So what happened when this user is log into the domain computer, the request go to the domain controller for authentication. For authentication. So who is going to authenticate this user one? The domain controller itself authenticate the user, not C1. Okay. The point is domain users can log into any of the domain computers. For example, I want to log into the C2 with user 2 can log in. And what happened? It send a request to the domain controller for authentication purpose. So domain controller authenticate user and authorize the user to access C2. Okay, who is giving the authentication and authorization? Domain controller here. Okay, the same way. So user 3 login here, user 4 login here, user 5 login here. First shift completed. Today, all these users log into C1, C2, C3, C4, C5. Tomorrow, so there is a change. People like user 2 want to log into this PC. User 2 log in yesterday here. Today he want to log in here. Can user 2 log in here on the next day? Or maybe after log out from this one, he want to log into C3. Can user 2 log in here? Everybody is silent. Not getting, understand, not understandable also, please tell me guys. No problem.
Yes, sir. Understanding, sir. No problem.
So then if user 2 want to log into C3, what will happen? Nothing, same request go to the domain controller. Is user 2 is there or not? Yes, authenticated and authorized and can able to access. Because there is a no rule that is user must be a local account here because the C1, C2, C3, C4, C5 all domain computers only. All these five computers are domain computers. Any user, domain user can log into any of these PCs. Okay, either it is just they cannot log in two systems at a time, but log out and log in kind of stuff they can do. Okay, for example, here it is user 7 login, user 6 is login here, user 1 is login here, user 3 login here. Like that, any system, of course, until unless organization kept a one rule that is user must log into this PC only. So like that, except that enforcing rules, all remaining is they can able to log. Okay. Only one question. That's again I asked one question, but people not given answer. One more question I will ask. So for example, that user 8 want to log into C8. Is this user can able to log into C6 or not? Okay, user
No, sir.
8, no. Why?
Log into which one, sir? C6.
C6.
Yes, sir. Possible, sir. Because user is in the database and the computer is in the database.
But first you said no.
No, sir. I didn't. I
But
took it
first
like
answer is
user 8
correct.
to your system 8. User 8 to system 8. I thought it like that. But later C6, right, sir?
Actually, given first answer is correct. Okay.
Oh, C6 is not here. Yeah, 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 sir. Sorry,
Very
I
good,
didn't.
very good. C6 is not here. That's the point. Okay. It's not a domain computer. It is outside of my domain. That's a boundary. Even C6 is in the same network, but not in the domain. That's why the user is cannot log in here because it's a domain user. Domain user cannot log into the other domains or other than our domain. Means maybe C6 is in the work group, maybe it is in different domain, but our user cannot log into that. That's why it is called a logical administrative boundary. Even there is a network. In the network, so many things can be there. But it is become a logical administrative boundary of users and computers and resources also. Okay. This is my domain. The domain has a name called some name. Okay. Domain has a name, a contest.com. For example, lot of 70s.com, tata.com, okay, something like, there is a domain.com names are there. Okay. So it is a domain. Domain means which is a logical administrative boundary of users and computers, resources and services also. What is meant by resources? For example, you have a printer. For example, you have a printer. Name is P1. If it is belongs to the domain, if you add this printer to the domain, that is also become domain resource. The user want to access the printer, and if he is an authorized user to access it, he can able to access. It's a control, centralized control will become. Okay. The final point is here, guys. As said, one example when we see in the work group. Okay, there is 100 computers in the work group systems. 100 computers have to do some firewall setting. Have to go to each and every system, log in with their local administrator account, and go to the firewall settings, then change according to the required firewall setting in it. For example, just for example, 100 computers have to do it. That is become more difficult, right? Now, what I am doing in this one, in a centralized control kind of stuff, I create a policy called a group policy. I create a policy called a group policy. In this policy, I will mention the firewall setting. What are the setting I want to do it? I will mention the settings in this group policy. And through this policy, I can distribute this policy. I will tell, follow this. This policy will applicable on these computers or user wise or a computer wise. I can apply this policy from central. Once I created a policy and it is applicable to all the systems. Or maybe you can make it as a group of system. Like this group of systems or group of users should get this policy. Okay. So what is a group policy setting? It is in the domain control, you create a group policy setting, you link the policy to a group of systems or group of users. Those users will get that policy. It is enforcing various types of settings, not only firewall setting, guys, different types of setting, desktop related policy settings or application related settings. Okay, user login related settings. One second, I'm getting connected. Nothing. HDFC credit card. People will give credit card and they will ask money. Okay, sorry guys, interruption. So this is a group policy setting. I may created a firewall setting inside, or maybe I will create another group policy for desktop. You know, I will tell one simple example. I created a lot of data on my desktop. See how much data on my desktop. So, so many things are there. Okay. So what I have to do? So then um, 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 I want to enforce my users. So they should not create any data on the desktop. They should not create any data on their desktop. So what I will do, I will create a policy in the group policies. I will create a policy. Okay. And then that enforce settings to my all my users. So any user is trying to create a data on the desktop, so it will show you do not have administrative permissions. Administrator block this thing kind of stuff. Okay, it is so many things like it's different types of either it is positive or negative, whatever it is, either it is yellow or a deny kind of settings. You can enforce to the large number of users and computers using group policies. Okay, with a single sentence, I try to cover one important point that is a group policy point. Okay, so how much burden is reduced? I have 100 computers. 100 computers are now simply with one single policy I created in one single server, and that is applied to 100 computers. So all 100 computers got it now. I no need to go to each and every computer to do the modification. Simply I can do it in my single system itself. So that is called a group policy settings. Okay. So these are the points, major points about a domain. Guys, in the domain, it is centralized administration. Okay. In the domain model is, it is a work group model. It is decentralized administration. In the domain model, centralized administration. In domain, there is a domain controller, which is a server, which is our centralized controller. Centralized controller is domain controller, which is nothing but a server. There is a domain administrator. So within this users, there is a domain administrator account is there. You know, individual PCs do not have any admin rights. These users also do not have any admin related rights. I have an admin account here. I create an admin account, or I'll make any user as an admin account. This admin user can able to go to each individual PCs to install application or local settings you want to do it. So with the help of domain administrator account, we can able to do it. Most of the time, the settings we can able to enforce with the group policies. Okay. So anything you have to go inside and log in and do it, or maybe you have to install some application compulsory is required, and you can log in with the domain admin account. Domain administrator is a admin for all systems in the domain. Okay. What is a group policy? Enforce various types of settings to large number of users and computers in the domain using group policies. Okay. Your user information, computers, groups, services, resources information stored in your centralized computer. Okay, which is nothing but our domain controller. So in the domain controller, there is a database. Okay, in that database only it will store. A domain user can log into any domain computer by default. It means whenever you create a user in the domain controller, that user can log into any of the domain computer. Here it is. This is my domain controller. This is my Windows Server 2019 server. It is inside. I make this one as a domain controller. So the domain name is contoso.com. This is my server name. Itself, it is a domain controller. So you can go to this Active Directory users and computers. Yeah, you don't require to know everything what you are seeing. Just what I'm showing, just carefully look at it. See it is. So this is my domain name. And these are my users. I created these users, okay, in this one. These some groups, these two are groups, remaining are users only. These users I like created inside this PC. Okay. So even though I created a soft skills trainer, a technical trainer, two trainers like that, I created it. Okay. In a development also I created some of the user, Nitish, Triveni, and Python I didn't create anyone. Okay. So this is I created a user. These users are domain users. And this is a domain client. It's just a Windows 10 PC. So which is a member of our domain. You can see computers. So it is member of my domain. This is a domain computer. These are the domain users. All this information stored in this server. Okay. Yeah, I will show that one how they will log into the domain. So definitely. Yeah, here it is. I've written same explanation in the words I've written. So in the domain also, user information, username, password stores in the domain controller, not in a individual pieces. Computer join into the domain called a domain computer. Those computers join into the domain computers. User in the domain called a domain users. Domain user can log into their domain computers. Okay. Here is a one highlighted point. This is important. When domain user log into domain computer, domain controller will authenticate user. Okay, not the computer. Domain controller authenticate the user. Okay. It's a domain, a logical administrative boundary of users and computers. How to check you are in the work group? How to check you are in the domain? So how to join into the domain? That part. Something I missed that is are you in the domain or not like that also there. Okay. See, here is it is showing Neeraj. Neeraj is user account. So where I created a Neeraj he is here. Okay. For you, I am going to create a new account here because your people are not available, right? So I'll create an account which is I need a full name like this, like small full names, smalls are there, small names. Shravani says Roshni is there. Roshni. New user. I'm going to create a new user in my server. If you look at this is my server. Okay, Roshni. Where is the name? Here only I've seen Suram. Okay. And my login name is Roshni. So Roshni is a login name. And this is the full name details. And this is a login name @ contoso.com. Okay. And I'm giving a password here. So the password is like a admin @ 123. Admin @ 123. If I given a password, a common password. Think like this, guys. I'm a system administrator from HR. So I got a ticket from HR. I got some mail through mail I'm getting, or maybe some ticket wise. So HR requested add Roshni account to the create a Roshni account. Okay, HR don't have much technical partner. So the HR is asking a system administrator. So add Roshni account. So what I have to do, I take the details and add a user account and give the a dummy password, a common password. Okay. And there is, if you see, user must change password at next login. What is that meaning is, I created a some common password. When user is login for first time, user is login for a first time, so it will ask for a change your password. I want to make that like this is common password for everyone. So let user choose his own password. That is, I choose user must change password next login. If I choose like this, user it won't ask. Like you take a user, if you want to change, you can change. Otherwise, not. This is enforcing user log in with the dummy password first, and you make sure you have to change. Like this depends upon organization and planning and security. So you can make it. I created some common password. I said user must change password at next login. Next, finish. So user account is created in my server. Now I am going to the client. So you know already the user account is not here in this client PC. It is created in the server only. Okay. So here it is. First, I have to type the username. So oh, I forget the name also. Roshni at the rate .com. Like this, you can give different ways you can be able to type. So I type like this, and I given a password admin at the rate 123. So when I enter, so it is user password must be changed before signing in. So user has to be choose a different password than a given regular password. So click OK. Now I have to change the password. I am going to give password capital A admin at the rate 123. So I change my password. Then go to enter. I given only capital A. So user password is changed. Now see it is. I didn't given any name here. So it is taken from the server. Once you are authenticated, so it will send authorization detail to access it. First time I'm logging to this client system, so it is setting a profile environment for that user. It will take little bit time, so 5 to 10 minutes. It will take some time. Okay, so it is first time I'm logging to this client PC. So obviously, in the client PC, the user's profile data is setting. Okay, guys, understand the user account login, password login kind of stuff.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
It will take a little bit time, as I said. Just relax 2 minutes, see what will happen. It is, you got it. The license will be expired. See, it is. And if you observe, there is a some screenshot is showing like a 70s Noida batch 3 on the screen. It is showing. Okay. So what happened to this? Why it is came? Even for the desktop setting, I have created a desktop setting for the you people. What is the desktop background? They should get it. Also, I managed from group policies. So whenever user is login, automatically that wallpaper setting is there. So it is called a group policy management. This is a group policy objects. Inside these group policy objects, it defines what policy it is. You have to do it. Okay. So this is desktop wallpaper. It is saying what is the wallpaper information is there in this picture that should be applicable to everyone in the network. See it is. Yes. This is IA restriction policy. It means by this policy, users cannot delete their in the IA Internet Explorer, so they cannot able to remove the history. They can't change the general page also. Okay, and this is a printer policy. You can deploy the printers settings to the member of our users. Okay, so these are different policies are created and linked to the different OUs like this. Okay, only HR people will get a printer. Only IT support people applied with this policy. Everybody should get this wallpaper. And if you see this wallpaper on this, so what I'm going to do is just for a fun, I will change the wallpaper. I know where is the wallpaper it is. This is wall 2. I'm going to take one picture from my system. So, pictures. This is look like a good picture. Like copying from my physical machine to virtual machine. See the picture name is osa.jpg. Okay. So this is the shared folder, guys. The folder is shared. Okay. It's a shared folder. This is the folder that is osi dot. Uh, this is the part. Okay. What I'm going to do is I go to the group policies. Where is the desktop wallpaper policy? Edit policies, administrative templates, all the settings, filter options. Okay. This is the wallpaper. It's just for searching purpose only. So here I'm going to change it. osi.jpg. Okay. Apply. Okay. So I done the setting. Okay. Just I done the setting. Go to refresh here. Is the setting is applicable or not? Yeah. So setting name is changed. Then finally go to command prompt and tp update slash. In the client also you have to do some update dashboards. If you don't do it, also no problem. But if you do it, it verify the settings. It's a working setting or not. And you have to log out from the same user. Okay, or restart the PC. Also good. So whatever the settings I have created or changed, those settings will be applicable in the on the user. I have to give new password, right? Not old password. See it is on the system. It is showing a 7 layers of YSA model: application layer, presentation layer, session layer, transport, network, data link, and physical layer. Okay. So it reminds the people always read 2, 3 times. When we are in an intermediate, so it is there is a what is that chemicals chart is there, na? What is that chart name? Hydrogen, helium,
Periodic
boron.
table.
Yeah, periodic table, periodic table. Very good. So like that, now we have to create like these charts. Even we have done earlier. because the first time we learn networking, it's difficult to understand the subject when we are in that place. Okay. So YSA model, IP addresses, subnet mask, calculations, everything, port numbers. So that's keep on doing. Then we have become masters in any time we can able to type. Okay. So this is group policy. Guys understand user and group policy kind of stuff. Two things about a domain, because I want to show one more last one. Okay. So now what happened? The Roshni came to the next day and start try to log into the account. Okay. So with a old password, now it is not working, and she forget the password, not working. So what happened? Roshni forget her password. What are the default password is given? She changed the password. Now password is forgotten. Okay. So what will happen? Contact service desk. So information go to the service desk to the system administrator. Okay. So finally that is go to the system administrator in the service desk, system administrator team. So what is it? Rohini forget her password. What is the username? Rohini. So where is the location and all the information, and plus that's user email account and all. So once verify the information, go to the department and this go to the Rohini. Now Roshni forget her password. So what I have to do it? So this is enter Roshni information this. So I'm going to change the password. So go to the reset password. Go to the reset the password. So click on reset password. So this time I'm not saying the user to change his password. Okay, I'm not giving because the user is forgetting password. Okay, so you can give it or not. It is completely depends upon administrators and policy, company policy. Okay, this time just I don't want to give like that. So what I'm giving is I'm changing the password. Okay, again password is admin at the rate 1234. Admin at the rate 1234. Okay, I change the password and I give it to the row. So click OK. So now I change the password for a user. So what happened? I give in the user password. So admin at the rate 1234. Now directly goes to Islam. Okay. So understand guys how to change user password and where I change the user password.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So three things I showed. I created a user account in the server. I log into the client. I change a group policy or I created a group policy in the server. It is applicable on the client. I change the user password in the server and it is user can able to log into the client. It is all the things it is telling about a centralized control. Okay. So what is a domain? A logical administrative boundary of users and computers. In a domain environment, in a domain model, we have a centralized control called a domain controller. Domain controller, two things. One is maintaining database and authentication. So domain controller contains a database about users, groups, computers, and resource information in the database. And whenever these users log into the domain, so your domain controller authenticates. We can enforce we can enforce various types of settings to the users and computers using group policies. So these are the main things about a domain. Okay. So what is this active directory? Now, what is this active directory? Guys, you have a server means that it is. So again, same kind of concept only, not a difference one. As I said, it is a domain controller. How this is become a domain controller? That is also an important, right? As I said, it is a server. Which server? Microsoft Windows server it is. The server can be, not can be, it is a Microsoft Windows server operating system I have to install. Okay. Server operating system, it is there inside this one. And how it is become a domain controller? By installing a service called, installing a role called Active Directory. The recent Windows Server operating system, the AD name is changed to ADDS. Okay. The reset name changes to ADDS. Earlier it is AD, now it is ADDS. That's it, nothing more. Nothing, no difference in it. Okay. The role which is we are installing is ADDS. In this server, I installed a role called ADDS. Like you can go, this is the ADDS. It is there inside only, like manage, add roles and features. Okay. If you see these roles, this is an Active Directory domain services. Active Directory is become 5 services: certification, federation, lightweight directory services, right management services, domain services. That's why earlier it is only one single Active Directory, now 5 Active Directories. That's it is earlier Active Directories, now it is Active Directory domain service. It is DHCP server, DNS services, Hyper-V server, web server it is, deployment WDS server, update servers, remote access servers like a for VPN purpose. Okay. Here it is, you can see iSCSI servers, data deduplication, DNF servers. Okay. So guys, these are the server roles. In the server roles, you have to install this domain services, Active Directory domain services. Then what is this Active Directory? Active Directory, 2 points. Again, as a domain controller, as I said, same points only, nothing more. Only we use Active Directory part. Active Directory database services. What is the Active Directory services or Active Directory? It's a directory service which providing 2 directory services. One is database services, another one is authenticated, authentication services, authentication and authorization. Authentication and authorization. What is the database purpose? Anyway, user, domain user informations, groups, computers, resources stored in the database. Authentication and authorization. Whenever they log in to the domain computers or anything, when you want to access a domain printer, you need authorization to access. You must be authenticated user and you need authorization to access. Okay, authentication and authorization. Same thing. Active Directory. What is an Active Directory? Is a directory service, which is 2 services: database and authentication and authorization. Active Directory database stores identity of users, groups, computers, services, and resource information. Okay. And it authenticates users and computers when log into the domain, or you can say underline one, you can say Active Directory authenticate users when they log into domain computer. ADDS database means Active Directory database. I said database means it's having some name, right? The database having a name. The name of database is ntds.dit. Database name is ntds.dit, new technology directory service directory information tree. And Active Directory also do authentication, right? It use Kerberos or LDAP protocols. It use Kerberos and LDAP protocols to authenticate users. Guys, this Active Directory is actually introduced in Windows Server 2000. Before Active Directory, before Active Directory architecture, so we use in the Windows NT server before 2000 server, there is a Windows NT server. So that time we call that one as PDC VDC concept. Instead of add to directory database, we call it as SAM database. Instead of Cabros authentication protocols, we use NTLM authentication protocol. This is older architecture, PDC BDC concept. But next in 2000, the Active Directory is introduced. Active Directory is introduced. And the same Active Directory, is the name is Active Directory Domain Services in 2008. Okay, Windows Server 2008 onwards, it is Active Directory Domain Services. Because Active Directory has a different architecture, like a forest tree, child domain. This type of architecture is there in the Active Directory. Okay, so very point is in the olden days, Windows NT server time. So different organizations in under same enterprise, different organizations. So for Tata Motors, Tata Steel, like this, there is different organizations are there under same enterprise, but they have to trust each other. You have to create lot of trust relationship between them. It become a more multi complex circuit. It is complex architecture. It is becoming more organizations are increased and at the same enterprise, it become difficult. Now, this Active Directory resolve all these issues. They create one forest as an enterprise. Under the enterprise, all the business will come into one thing. All business organizations comes under the same thing. Okay, so what happen under forest? All the domains will trust each other. All domains in the forest trust each other. So that last point, if you don't get it, also no problem. Active Directory architecture consists Active Directory architecture forest tree child domains. Under forest, all the domains are trust each other. Under forest, all domains are trust each other. Okay. So earlier we call a domain work group kind of stuff, guys. There is a important points once again. See that from here work group and domain. Okay. So difference between what is a work group, what is a domain? Difference between domain and work group. What is the difference? Work group is decentralized administration. Domain is centralized administration. Work group do not have any centralized control to the users, computers, and their login kind of stuff. We do not have any centralized control. Every system has their own administrator. One system user cannot log into another system because the system will authenticate user individually like they're having their own user and password. You can manage individually, not centrally. More number of devices in the network, difficult to manage. Domain is a centralized administration. Centralized administration. We have a centralized controller, which is domain controller is a server. Inside a domain controller, we have a service called Active Directory Domain Services, which is having a database, Active Directory database, and authenticate users. 2 points are there. Okay. Yeah. So we'll go second separately that one. But here it is. The centralized server is a domain controller, which is they're having a domain administrator is a admin for all the systems in the domain. It can enforce various types of settings to the large number of users and computers in the domain using group policies. Yeah, hello. Yeah, tell me. Sorry, sorry for interruption. It's 4 o'clock, so I will take the class. Yeah. Okay, guys. The point is important one is difference between work group and domain is always important. Centralized administration, decentralized administration. No centralized control. We have a centralized controller called a domain controller. It is. Each individual PC has their own account and that is authenticated and authorized by their own system. Here it is centralized system authenticate users. Okay. And user information, group information, services, resource information stored in the centralized server only. Here we have to manage individually, not centrally. But here we are using a group policies to enforce various type of settings to large number of users and computers. Okay. In the work group, it is more number of devices, difficult to manage. Here it is more number of devices, then only we require domain controller. If lesser 10 computers only, we don't require domain controller. More number of devices, we require a domain controller. Okay. So this is what I'm trying to say. Okay. That is difference between work group and domain. And what is a domain? A administrative boundary of users and computers. And next one is what is an Active Directory? Active Directory is a directory service. Okay. Active Directory having a directory services. One is Active Directory database and authentication service. Database service and authentication service. Two services by Active Directory. What is a database service? It stores information of user group computer service. Okay, which is belongs to the domain. Domain users, domain computers, domain services like that. Okay. It stores identity of users, groups, computers, services, resources in the database. Name of the database is ntds.dit. Okay. What is the second service? Authentication services. When user log into the domain, okay, user log into the domain or a domain computer, our Active Directory is going to authenticate that user. Active Directory authenticate that user when user is log into the domain. Okay, so the domain that authentication protocol is Kerberos 88. Okay, still someone is ask you. So what is Active Directory? What is ADDS? What is AD? What is ADDS? Both are same guys. In year 2000, in Windows 2000, 2003, Active Directory Microsoft use service name is Active Directory there. In 2008, Active Directory name changed to Active Directory Domain Services because of additional service introduction to the Active Directory Certification Service, Federation Services. Because of other Active Directory services, our Active Directory name changed to Active Directory Domain Services. Okay. So Active Directory has an architecture is like a forest. Under forest, you have trees and child domains. Under the forest, all the tree domains, child domains will trust each other. Okay, all are a security boundary only. All these are under same security boundary. Same policies we can apply. Once you install a Exchange server inside, and it is meant for everyone. Okay, so like this, we can able to create. So this is point. And last point I added here it is, guys, my client system or my computer, my laptop or my clients are either I use a pro or enterprise editions only. If your laptop is not pro or enterprise, it is a home enterprise, home edition. Home editions, we cannot add it to the client pieces. Okay. So that is the point. Okay. The point is only home PCs cannot add Pro and Enterprise of Windows 10, Windows 11, Windows 7, Windows 8. All these things can able to add to the domain. Okay. So I showed how to add a domain to the client also. Can see from there. Okay. How to check you are in a domain or not? So check it about your PC and go to rename this rename this PC. In case if it is not showing, go to other thing, advanced system settings or system protection. Go to advanced system settings or system protection also. I'm going to advanced system settings. Yeah, this is already in domain. That's why it is showing like that. So I have to give my, so I said no, I cannot, I cannot change any settings. I'm just a user, domain user. I need an administrator password. So then only I can able to change any of the settings. So even I want to view the setting also, I need the password. Okay, here it is. Go to computer name. So I went to the advanced and go to the computer name. See it is my domain name. And if you click on change also, it shows member of domain name. Okay. This is this PC is in the domain. Okay. So earlier I showed one system that is in the work group. That is how you can able to check it. Guys, understand what is work group, domain, and Active Directory. Okay. So I think Sar is waiting for you for a next session. So if possible, tomorrow we are going to discuss about what is the servers, different types of services. What is server and client? What is peer-to-peer? What is server and client? And what are the different servers? What are the different servers? Also, we'll discuss. We already discussed about domain controller kind of things. And now, and also we'll try to discuss about DHCP and DNS. Okay. And yeah, it is. I already have a PDF of it. So just I'm going to take a PDF once more. I will share this document. It is purely servers and service, irrespective of so whatever the class you are completed earlier and all. So I'm going to share information to you. I said no, it is already there in my PC. That's it for today, guys. I'm posting in this group only. No one is talking. I'm muted or what? Not muted, no? Okay. So tomorrow's class is also in this notes only. Okay. No one is talking. What happened? Okay, I'm stop recording. Where about? Guys, if you are already joined in another session or what?
No, sir.